what we try to do, we expected a number of people, which we do have quite a few here compared to our normal building committee meetings. So thanks everybody for coming out. Those on this side are the members of the election commission. Is Amber going to be here?
She will be here.
Okay. And then we got the county commissioners over here, and those that are on the building committee are up here. We'll go ahead and get started, and we probably won't get into a lot until we think Amber might show up. So, well, that said, been said, I'd like to call the meeting to order. I have given the building committee members a copy of the minutes from our last meeting. Y'all will review those. Anybody have any comments, questions? Several of y'all are new.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second. Favor? Opposed? Minutes are approved. We do have a quorum here. We have seven positions, and five members are present. The old business, I don't know if y'all remember, I don't know if we discussed this at the building committee or not, but John Newland had an issue with the screen wall that protects the generators, and there's effervescence coming out, and it had some moisture issues. So I met a contractor over there about a month ago or so, and put together a scope of work, and he priced it, got the price in the hot, and I think the PO has been, I talked to someone in your office, Todd. Do you know if y'all sent the PO out?
Yes, sir.
So that's done. Hopefully they'll get started on that fairly soon. That's the only old business I've got. Last, as most of y'all are aware, at the last meeting, well, the committee did vote for a new building to be pursued. I've not received a whole lot of comments on that, or as far as questions on that, but Mayor Pulse is going to give us an update on the new building here in just a bit. We've got a number of price estimates on those new buildings, and there have been a number of people commented to me about the possibility of renovating the existing EMS building. Along with that, or actually not with that, but kind of separate from that, about a month or two ago, after the commission meeting, Mike Mitchell came up to me and basically said that, or asked me if he got involved in it and could find a solution to the problem of supplying an election building that may not cost as much if we'd be open to it. And I said, certainly, talking is free, and we don't leave no stone unturned. So with that, Mike has done some work, and I know he's met with Amber. Ms. Lake, you won't be sit up here. He's met with Ms. Amber, and he's got a presentation that he's going to go through on that renovation. So with that, Mike, I think most of y'all may know him. Mike, my understanding is a native from Hardeman County, one here that has been a general contractor, doing virtually, I think, all commercial construction for the past 30 years. So very well versed in it, and we've had numerous conversations kind of since he started the process. It's obvious he knows what he's doing. So with that, Mike, if you would take the floor.
Thank you, Board. Thanks everybody for being here. Like I said, I've been gone for most of the year, so when I come back in September, and I heard this whole conversation start up, and, you know, I'm just hearing the option of a new building, and just kind of got me interested. I started asking questions about one particular building. One thing I addressed, just because it was one that come up, it was an EMS building, didn't know where it was, didn't know anything about it. And so I was asking what the issues were. They could give a laundry list of issues. Some were just rumors, some were, and a lot of talk and chit chat. So, I went and, you know, looked at the building, trying to address those issues first before we even got into where we met with, Ms. Moore over here. To try to clear up some of those things that apparently were an issue to this board, maybe earlier on in the year. So, the EMS building is the only site I looked at. Right off the bat, I put on the screen here, one of the questions basically that we even have, are we supposed to be here, the job ever gets finished, is there an occupancy certificate, blah, blah, blah. There it is, it exists. It was issued, I think, March of 2020. There were 10 other temporary COs issued over 16 months prior, starting December 18th. So there's a list of them, but we finally got a CO.
So would you explain what that is to everybody?
That was from the fire marshal's office. That's a use of occupancy certificate, basically saying we inspected it, it meets code, we're good to go. Now, meeting code, it did not meet the specs that they originally approved, but it did meet code. So it's a safe building, our people can be in there, we're not gonna die. You know, that was an issue to people, so we'll make sure everybody understood that's up there. One of the other things that come up, like I said, before I even address anything, was, you know, that was property that was deeded to the county for a fire station for City of Oliver and the EMS for the county. And it was in the deed that you couldn't use it for anything else, that little rumor, you know, so first I went and pulled the deed. I didn't make copies for everybody, there's a copy of the deed on everybody's desk. Now, do I think that conversation took place in the rest of the board? I'm pretty sure it probably did. Like I said, we want to make sure we're going to get it. If we give it away 5 acres. It probably took place, but it never made it into the deed, and so there was no issue. So I did call the city, talked to Julian a couple of times on this, said, hey, y'all ever have any intentions on utilizing this building for a fire station or anything else? He said, nope, it's going to cost a couple $100,000. I guess they had some prices on it. We get it, go there, we're going to have to rent it. You know, I said, is there anything you're going to use for anything else? You know, and I followed up with him a couple of times over the last month to make sure the city has no dog in that hunt. And so, I'm just trying to clear up things before I even decide to move forward with anything. Excuse me here, we've got wrong glasses, we're looking this far away, so. Like I said, I'm sorry I didn't have copies for everybody here, the board does have copies. So, this is a floor plan of what Ms. Moore and I have worked out. And let me just kind of skip over here to show you where we're talking about. This is the EMS building. So the left side of the page, this would be Highway 64 over here. The bottom of the page would be Lucy Black Lane. And so we're looking at this 22,000 foot building right here. The south end, which is the left and third right here, is EMS living area and offices. The center part, obviously, the bays for the ambulances. These two bays right here where the fire truck bays were originally designed for, and the north end is a finish out space that was supposed to be living area for the fire department if they had moved in. So the area we're addressing with Ms. Moore is this area right here. Now this is a total of 5,600 square feet. It hadn't been used, I don't think it's ever been used for anything. Now these two bays are being used for storage by county departments, I think, and a little bit by EMS. But for the most part, this is where we're looking at. And so the biggest issue, I think, like I said, I'll go back to this little floor plan here. The reason we're here, we wouldn't be here if me and Ms. Moore hadn't worked found a solution to this particular space that it will meet her needs. That's the only reason if we hadn't got to this point, I would be here. If she couldn't work with this space. And so, the biggest issue I think was everybody's problem was cross traffic. Traffic interfering with EMS when they're pulling out, public safety and them and everything, everybody wants to sue the ambulance department, you know, we get that. And that was the biggest hurdle. And so when I looked at this building the first time, and you know, that was in my mind, it took about 5 minutes for me to just say this should have happened. Now, so I drew out a basic plan, and I showed it to the woman, I think it might have been Mr. Wright had me out there, and I said, here's how you resolve this issue. And so, that's when I really started working with that. It took about a month to find these plans, the original plans. There's no copies of these plans anywhere in Hardeman County. And so, finally I had to go to the National, get straight from the fire marshal's office. And so I got the plans. There were 55 pages of very well drawn plans by TLM, architects, engineers. And so, when I got the plans, this is the first thing I saw when I pulled it up. This is how the building was supposed to have looked from the original plans and design. And this is the issue. This thing originally had these two entrances. The fire marshal made a requirement for these two entities, even though they're both emergency entities, that there was supposed to be EMS from where my cursor is, this end, that's their part. This was the city fire department. These are two 30-foot entryways here. And it was really originally designed for these separate entities never to have cross-traffic between themselves. Okay, not just the public, between themselves. This is a 2-lane in and out entrance. The fire department would have pulled in here, went around, 35-foot minimum clearance right here, between that patio there and the parking they have here, around to the back, and pulled into their bay doors. The EMS would have pulled in and went all the way around the building, cross the building, come across the back of this side, and pulled in the back of their bay doors. Or they could have maybe the other way, these 35-foot passages right here, on purpose, it's by design. These were never supposed to be cross-traffic, even between emergency services. Okay, so that's a thing that fire marshal required when they approved the plans in March of 16. So ultimately, that's why we had a problem. Somebody, y'all had a problem, justifiably so. Everybody should be concerned about that. I understand why this was taken off the table, just nobody ever looked at it from a developer's eyes. They looked at it just, here's what we got. And so I understand why it got skipped over. So where does that take us from here? So hang on just a second. I'm trying to flip through here. This was my solution. Here's what we have now. This area right here, this right here is current paving on the south side of the building next to 64. This is the little entrance that people come in and they park in the parking lot. That's always been there, a little cut in right there, but right now we're not looking at that to be anything blocked off, so just gonna ignore that, just give you something to look at. This is whoever we hired, an architect engineer, will clean this up. This is concept only, but this would be the new 30-foot entrance, 2-way traffic entrance, and then we'll come across, drive across the existing parking lot, drive around back. There's the 50-foot requirement right there, pull in the back of the EMS building. Okay, so let's just, right there is my cursor, just visualize this being a little temporary line right here. So this is how the EMS can come in, drive in the building, come out, pull out, and go out on Lucy Black and leave, or they can come in, do what they're doing here, they pull in either way, traffic can go both directions. It's legitimate, it's the original 35-foot requirement, everything meets that criteria. Here is my concept, and it is a proposed thing, I'm gonna clear something up here, but this is what I look like in maximum parking allowed for the new election commission to have. This is the north end of the building right here where the cursor is. That's where the election building would be, is proposed to go. There would be, we block off this part of the road, the area right here would be blocked off with a brick wall, match the brick on the front of the building, 4 foot high or whatever. There'd be a gate on the sidewalk where you can actually, somebody park here, wanna walk through here, just, it's the people want it just for pedestrian traffic or whatever. And then I'm not showing the fence and all, you know, or even a brick wall, it's good to be there. I see the poles you have back here behind the courthouse that you can remove or whatever. This is gonna be traffic between the election commission and the EMS, so, you know, if there was ever an emergency or something, they wanted to open that up for something and get to it, they could. But this is the new entrance right here. It's a two-way traffic entrance to that parking lot. So it's its own separate entrance. Now, before I make the mistake that the last guy did, and assume that I can come across here and put an entrance under this road. This is a proposed possibility. This is not a city road, this is not a county road, this is not a state road, this is the Baldwin Industrial Park Road. This yellow line is Baldwin Industrial Park property. This is no right of way or anything else. The reason I put that up there is I think it would be better flow, and first, this is a project that's developed for 15 to 20-year use for this site. If they go here, they're gonna be here a while. That's what Amber and I discussed, what our long-term projections and needs were. So this would give about a 56-car parking area right here. The reason I put this here, like I said, it would be nice to pull in here and have slanted parking going down the side and blah, blah, blah on each side, and pull in and pull out, and get back out on this road, come out. That would require, first, definitely permission, and I'm not making any assumption that this will ever happen. But we can always get a thing to turn around and come back out, and come back out this traffic. But now, if the industrial board was, you know, okay with that idea of giving us a easement to do that, put that entrance exit right there, it would make the accommodation. I think this will make less congestion of traffic on this site. So, I won't turn it to another school board thing where we drop something in somebody's lap. I don't know if there's anybody here on the industrial board of Bolivar, but if you are, I'm not saying this is gonna be dropped in your lap, but this would be an ultimate goal of that. So that's where we're at on the projection. And the reason I'm showing you that's what I would like to see as a finished product. I think Amber would like to see that do the whole project at once. This would be the actual new paved area right here requirements. That's what the new pavement would look like. And this, if we don't do that, and we won't bear it on them, which you're gonna get two price quotes today, would be, this entrance has to go in no matter what. This would still be blocked off for construction costs. And this parking is about 22 or 23 parking places existing right here with nothing else. Still, I can see putting, you know, a lot of gravel turnaround stuff, gravel for poll workers or whatever, so they don't have to take up these parking places of the motor. If you decide to put a little out of the budget and not pave this area up here at one time. So that's, we do have over 20 parking places now. The other would give us well over 50 and 2 entrances. So I just wanted you to see the options on that, just moving forward on that. Okay, so let's get back to the design here. Give me just a second. Where am I gonna kill it? I might kill it. Probably did. Let's just go back. All right, so you got the design in front of you. Amber and I met 3 or 4 times on this. I tried to present it to her with just the finished area. It wasn't 2,800 feet, well, bathrooms, kitchen, blah, blah, blah. I certainly understand she's in a space now. It wouldn't go any more than she got right now. That's one thing. We're here today because of several reasons. That's quite clear. You know, she doesn't have the space. She didn't have the space for, first of all, for volume. She didn't have the space because now this new system will require different ways of dealing with voting. You're gonna have spaces for people to actually learn how to do the new system. Then you're gonna have to go in and vote. There's a slower process. I'm sure she's gonna need more machines to make this happen. She took the time to walk me through every inch of the process in her space before I even started designing anything. And she's anticipating growth from the county over the next 15, 20 years. I think we all are. I think maybe Mr. Franklin and Mr. Hawk, I think, may have showed up. It seemed like I heard they showed up and kind of expressed the fact that we're growing. Blue oil's coming. They prepare for that growth. Everything we're doing here is long-term growth. So she's in 2,400 feet now. The space that I'm talking about, let me get this thing up here. Let me get over here and see if I can find this, because I just shut out something I did not want to close out. Let's see here. Okay. All right, so that is that part of the two, what I call the two structural bays. So the part where you see these little cut-up offices and stuff is the finished current living space for the fire department. This area here is where the two fire trucks were supposed to go in. There's a big roll-up door here, they went straight ahead, there's a roll-up door here, a roll-up door in the back, this is the front roll-up door. And so the proposed area is this 2,800 feet here, being reworked to meet her needs, and then splitting it right down the middle this way, getting 1,400 square feet for, and this, we're calling this the election room. Both of these are actually part of the election process. I can get into the flow of things. That's her problem, her problem, her idea. I don't need you to know that, we just know where to go lost. And we divided this back 1,400 square feet right here in half. The EMS would still be able to utilize this 700 to 750 square feet for storage. Maybe mention the possibility of maybe some training classes or something that could possibly finish out at some point to meet that need. This space right here, we go with part of the election commission's office. And the purpose of this is the roll-up door here. It's raining, whatever bad weather, they're bringing these machines in from these vehicles, they have to load them into the building. There's a door right here, which takes it into her machine room. This is where you have shelves for each machine, it's got a place to go. They go into here, she pulls whatever data or chip out of that, walks it across the hallway into the tally room, and they can do, function there. This hall gets closed off, so it's not closed to the public on election night or whatever, and then media people out here, the boardroom can be counting votes in this room. This would be Amber's office. Like I said, all the stuff they have in their office now in the front room and desk and stuff would be placed in here, and this would be strictly to Amber and her employees to make that function however, so it doesn't affect the construction of that. So this is something that we worked out. Like I said, that 3 revisions, wasn't a big deal. It was 5 or 6 hours. We got through it. I think she was okay with everything about this, and she can work with that. There's about 4,700 square feet. I know everybody's talking 37, 4,000. Doesn't matter. We're looking. This is it. This is something she can live with. I don't care if it's 47. This is for long term. We've thought it worked. And so, as long as she loves it, I love it. It got down to pricing. So, we have run this. This is nothing more than talk. This is a type 2 construction. It's fully sprinkled. That's the other thing here. We heard a lot about fire storage. This back room here is a big room for fireproof storage. Balances she's got to maintain, records for 10 years. This is the top priority, I think, to Amber. Insurance, she says she's right, we cover everything, but they can't replace this stuff. And this is important to her. And so, this is a type 2 building, meaning metal construction, type A drywall, fully sprinkled. That's why I think this is the most important thing, instead of dealing with some wood proposed thing. We're going, if this is that important, it needs to be in a type 2 building, not a type 5 building, all with construction. The spring, so.
Could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Regarding the difference?
Well, yeah, I mean, if we have a fireproof room inside a wood structure, outside, what's the
and again, I don't know what, I think these were just ideas. We just all popped up, so, nobody knows what this $400,000 building was like. Nobody out there, $1.6 billion was like. Nobody knows what I don't know, these are just concepts, because nobody's been hired to do this yet. So, again, I'm getting as far as I go, just from experience and people that got prices. I've got 2 prices from contractors for the paving, the minimum paving, not doing the whole parking lot. We're looking at about $100,000, that's not just paving, it's paving, the dirt work, that's the culverts and the two entrances and the drive. If we do the whole thing, you'll spend another $50,000, okay? And that gives us the third entrance, assuming, again, Palmer Industrial Board be okay with that, and finishes the job. So that takes us to that part. On the construction side, we're looking at $175,000. Literally, all we're finishing out is 4,000 feet right here. This space doesn't get anything. It's still a drive-in place, and it's also, if it's bad weather, whatever, rolling doors up, you get in here out of the rain, and, you know, she could bring them in through this door here and work it through her system if she won't do that. So it serves dual purpose for that. That'd just be an epoxy coating some paint out here. Like I said, this is a 2-hour rated wall here, this is a 2-hour rated wall here, this would be a 2-hour rated wall here, and this exterior wall here gets those bays filled back in. Like I said, this right here is nothing more than, like I said, after you get drywall up, drop ceiling, 3.5 tons of air conditioning, floor cover, electrical, lights and receptacles. It's already fully sprinkled. The 175 price we got was a national contractor. There's copies of specs up there. Now, there was a full set of specs with this. There's 55-page plans. And if you were to print the plan pages that are specs, it's probably a 50-page book of specs. So it's fully spec'd already. But there was additional specs based on the fact of what we're doing. We sent this out for a couple of people to look at and just shoot us a budget number so we know what's comfortable. Come in here with some reasonable concept of this thing. So they're looking at $175 grand. I don't know the gentleman that had priced the other new structure, the $400,000 plot, but Mr. Bell knows him. I think his name is Roger Willis. And I do know I'm supposed to meet with him and David on Monday. But he has been sent the plans and specs. I think he's looked that over. I think this is a number that, you know, obviously, you know, you don't want to send this work somewhere else. You keep it local, you want to keep it local. So, but if everybody's in that same ballpark, we're looking at the construction cost of this at $175. So at $175 and $100,000 on all the outside stuff, and there's about 25,000 sprinklers. That's a breakout thing, and that's the sprinkler people who's already put the system in. That's who maintains it. That's American Fire in Jackson. So we're looking at $200,000 in construction, $100,000 on the minimum paving, $150,000 on all paving, and you're probably going to hit $25,000, and you won't know what that exact number is until you bid it out and let it out to the architect, because that's a state number. They got a formula they work with. So maximum, minimum $325,000, maximum $375,000. That's what you're looking at. What I think the resident to me is, you know, she barely will pull this off, I think, in February, March, but we're coming to fall election, that's a big boy. And this thing here is you know, you turn somebody loose on this next week, this thing should be going in construction by February. Because these people, if you give it to PLM, and I know you got multiple architects and engineers, but they are who did the original plans. All they gotta do, they've seen this, is they gotta take this and put this back into that, take their plans, wipe out those interior walls, move a few things around, and it's already spec. They'll have to do a new door schedule, finish schedule, whatever. But, and there's a lot of salvageable stuff on here. All these doors in here are big rated fire doors and stuff. They can move around, reuse the cabinets for the break room we got right here, they come out of that kitchen. You know, the ceiling grid, most of it's gonna be used the same. Like I said, got to move the sprinklers to fit this. These sprinklers are here, they're up in the purlins and the rafters, they're 20 feet in the air. They just got to do drops, drop down. There's still 12 sprinkler heads to meet that requirements. And then have PA13, which is your standard run-of-the-mill commercial sprinkler system. The system will carry that. It's designed so we're not adding any more heads, just got to put them where they go. So the reason I think this is a viable choice is it can be done before she be moved in 4 months. It's gonna be done at a third of the price and a third of the time. And that's why I'm bringing it to you. And it'll get her in. I don't know if she'll be able to handle that big election next fall. Sitting here waiting on the new building to be built. I spring of 25. By the time we work through all this site evaluation crap and get through that process and see if somebody's gonna let you have a place or not, or whatever, you pick somebody, this thing won't be out bid for a contractor in May. It'll be after, the first year before it's built. And, I don't know if she can, from talking to her, I don't know if she can handle that. But maybe she can, I don't know if she can work through that or not. That's where,
The county owns that building, that's ours, right? Every.
Yes, the deed is there, the county, yes, the Falls Industrial Board give y'all that 5 acres.
And that building was built in 18?
It was, they got the CO in 20, it was, they moved in, I think, in end of 18 or first of 19, but they didn't get the final CO until March, it was 16 months later.
The point I was trying to get at a little bit earlier is the fact that being a metal building with a sprinkler versus a wood structure, it is on two separate planets from protecting the documents.
Yeah, a class 5 building, or a type 5 building, a type 2 building, it's just the nature of what it is. I mean, why would you want to take something that's precious, if that's what your concern is protecting, and put it in something that does catch fire, if it's unsprinkled, the weight of a heavy wood roof's gonna fall down. Yeah, metal buildings do catch fire, they collapse after it reaches the point of heat, it'll just sag on down and fall. A wood structure, everybody's saying a house burn, when it goes, it just falls in. You ain't gonna worry about putting a bunch of drywall around it and making it fireproof. You gotta worry about carrying the load of the weight of a burning wood roof. I just don't think that should even be a consideration on something like this.
And this structure is already sprinkled, so
Yes. Yes.
all you're doing is moving sprinkler heads.
Yes, they're gonna have to relocate about 7, on this plan, 7 to 8 heads in here, and then do drops on these 12 sprinklers in this room right here, this 1,400 square feet here.
Does anybody have any questions? Mike?
Yes, these folks here, they're the ones that we're doing this for. Anybody got a question or comment?
You got
Oh, I just want to say this. I think I checked off all Ms. Moore's boxes, but I cannot give her one thing in the corner. I'm gonna admit it. I can't give her her own separate space, own parking, or her own lot. I mean, this is, it's gonna be separated, and she'll have her own entrances, but I can't put you out there by yourself on this. That's the only thing I think I just couldn't pull off on that.
Mike, who provided the numbers that you mentioned about?
Excuse me?
Who provided the numbers that you mentioned about contracting?
What was that guy's name? Willis? Willis?
Roger
And then,
has given us numbers on the interior portion and a partial number on the addition into the bay. We've sent him the information on vacation this week.
Yeah.
We sent him the information and we'll meet with him Monday to kind of get a hard number. But, the number we got is, we feel like, based on our conversation with him, is probably a fairly accurate number.
But we don't have a complete.
We don't have a hard number. We don't have.
nobody's gonna take it. And that's,
I know they gotta put it
I've been in one of these meetings and everybody's saying, do we have prices? Contractors are gonna waste their time doing something on this little stuff.
Yeah, I realize that, but my question was, we've still got some variables in here that haven't been discussed yet.
Yeah, I mean, it in a plan. I mean, like I said, this is a concept, like everybody else has got concepts and numbers, but like I said, that's what we're looking at, this is a simple finish out. I've heard the argument that it costs more to build new than remodel. It just depends. Now, if you're building like an old house and you're trying to restore it, yeah, it does. If you're doing an old historic building or something, matching on stuff, yeah, it does. This is tenant finish out work, man. I mean, they ain't a high rise built, but they got 2 floors right now. That's constantly just demoing non-structural walls and slapping up drywall and metal studs and moving some electrical lighting. This is just a different animal than that. So you don't go and rebuild a new shopping center and have a tenant fix. It's a 5-year-old building. You get a 5-year lease and tenant moves out, you gut it out, break it 6 months later, you move a new one in. It's not expensive. You don't go build a whole new shopping center. This is not that kind of project. People who do this stuff can do this stuff.
What are in those areas that you're moving right now that's being replaced? What are in those areas now?
All right, so where these bathrooms are right here, and we're not sure, I mean, I don't think you have to have one bathroom for what it is. But we've left 2 in here. Reason is the toilet's right here, there's a shower right here where the sink is right now. And somewhere around in here, there's a couple of sinks. So what would happen is this mechanical engineer draw this up, and everything, say basically we're gonna take the water supply and drains from this shower, put this thing up in here, make this a handicap bathroom, 5-foot turnaround for a wheelchair here. Do the same with this, and then we would just, have to saw out concrete, bury those, and cap off those drains and water lines there. There's a kitchen over here, same thing with that, a little bit of concrete solid, there's less than 100 square feet of concrete's gotta be solid and filled back in. And then where this kitchen is right here, it's kind of laid out this way for a reason, because there's already plumbing here for a sink against the sink, and there's just a little, using some of the cabinets, putting in a microwave, a refrigerator, whatever. So everything is kind of laid out, you don't have to go, retract a whole bunch of stuff. The mechanical drawings, it was built pretty much to the mechanical drawings. I've got those, if you want to go through them, I think it's just kind of a waste of time now. I'd be glad to talk to you, Peter.
Is anything in there like plumbing wise, electrical, it's gotta be jackhammered out of the floor moved?
That's what I'm talking about, that's there's about 100 square feet of concrete, it's gotta be jackhammered out, sawed out, jackhammered out, cap off the T's that's coming off for those, trap arms and stuff, and the vents. A little bit right here in this area, a little bit right here in this area where there's a shower. That's gonna be reused where that break room is. And then right here in this corner, we have some plumbing right here, from the, kitchen sink.
Is this area metered on its own, does it have its own meter, or?
No, the meter, there's only one meter for the whole thing. There's a CT cabinet in the, I think, just south of the first bay door on the west side. All the panels are there. Now, in this utility room right here, right now, there's a door that opens up into this bay. We relocated that door out here just so it can be accessed from out there, so anybody can service it without coming to this new office area or whatever. There is its own separate panel right here on this wall for that. Right now, there's existing plumbing for washer and dryer right here, water heater is right here in this corner. So this door can go right here, that's where that washer and dryer connection just gets capped off, we don't use that.
Are those things factored into that price?
Oh, yes. Electrical, nothing in this part will be required, we got all the circuitries there, just really not moving much, we're dim on the wall right here. Like I said, we're moving, this wall is existing, this wall existed, this is a new wall right here, and this is a new short wall right here.
What are they constructed out of?
These are two 3 5/8 metal studs. These are 1 hour rated walls right here, 1 layer 5/8 type X on each side of that. This wall, around the utility room here, down this wall right here is now the 2 hour rated wall, 2 layers of 5/8 on 6-inch studs. Insulation between in the studs and the cavities, and 2 layers of 5/8 on each side. So this will be the same. They put this in the schedule for this wall's new. It'll be the same 2 hour rating. This will be a 2 hour rating. That'll be a 2 hour rating. This side over here will be probably match the original specs of kind of our finished metal on the outside, just for abuse and stuff, because it's going up next to the service bay. It's already there, but they still have this 2 hour rating wall because it's 2 separate entities there.
And one last question I had, you said that, on this remodel, we'll call it remodel.
Yes.
Remodel versus a new construction, that this could be done so much quicker than a new construction. What are you basing that on?
Basically, this remodel.
The comment you made about a remodel versus a new construction.
Yes. I mean, this is a 4 to 5 month job.
Okay.
And
How long is a new construction job?
well, I mean, first you gotta get cut loose, so I think getting to the construction site just because of now, I was in the last meeting when they were talking about, I was at the school board meeting, the school board said, hey, we want to see this analysis, and then we're gonna have to vote on, so you're gonna have to do
We're
this.
taking that out of the equation,
Yeah.
school board issue.
Okay.
Taking that out.
So if it started tomorrow, you gotta cut the architect loose, he's gotta come in and design that thing, architect and engineers,
And engineers with this.
excuse me?
And you have to engineer this too.
Yes, yeah, and it's going, like I said, my suggestion is DLM, they got all the engineering disciplines and architectural, and that's their plan. That would be who I would go with, just because it's gonna be cheaper, because they've already done the work. They've
How
already
much
spent it.
cheaper? How much cheaper?
I mean, just the logic of it. If somebody's got to start from here and do 50 pages of
So if you're gonna
specs,
make a statement it's gonna be cheaper, I'd like to have a number saying how much cheaper.
I'm just, all right, from a common sense standpoint, somebody designed this building. They had it in their system they go out here and just erase a few lines and move some walls. Somebody new is gonna have to come out here and draw this whole building, put all this stuff in, address this space, engineer this space. But why not go with the people that's already on the, that's gonna be the mayor's decision, but I'm just saying, that's the common sense way to go. Why bring somebody in, a new horse, when you got somebody that's already done all the work? They already the engineer of record, they're the ones that got the plans approved, the fire marshal to start with. They submitted 22 pages of engineering plans just to get the thing approved. Fire marshal's already worked with them on it, that's who they're familiar with. It'd be foolish to bring it in.
I agree with your statement there.
Yeah, I mean-
But, you know, also, I'm in a business and I know that what TLM and A2H and all of them charge too, so.
Well, I mean, that is the state kind of dictates that, and then they just, you know, they'll give you that high price based on the dollar figure. And then they're gonna back out what work they don't have to do, and so they would not have to do the.
But some of it all, we don't have any numbers on that yet.
No, I don't think we got a number on anything to hire somebody.
Right.
Okay, I mean,
But you'd make a statement, it'd be much cheaper, but we don't have those numbers.
No, but I mean, it's a logical thing, like I said, in the time involved in these people doing something, I'm just, like I said, I've never worked with them. Called the guy just to make sure of how the whole process went, their involvement, just, I can tell you everything about how their involvement was with this. They're the ones that got it approved, and we kind of got plans from them and told them about the picture for a year or two, and then they were the engineers of record.
I think you answered my
They had to clean it up.
I think you answered my question.
Yeah, okay.
So Mike, your estimate for construction was 175
175 plus another 25 for the sprinkler system and engineering on that.
and 100 for parking, paving.
100 for the paving, in the areas that I showed you, in the blue darkened areas, and that would include the 2 entrances in the driveway around the back, and the, culverts and other sites. And there's engineering involved in that, but that's part of the engineering project, like I said, that's the allowance for that, based on the 2 construction.
300,000.
300,000 or 350 if you do the whole parking lot, which.
Can we hear from Mr. Moore now?
Yeah.
Well, all I can say is that Mike approached me like several others have. And the first thing that approached me about the MS building was just that far in. And even I've got enough sense to know that that was less space than what I already had. I told him I couldn't do that. He said, what if I can draw a plan with this? I told him, I said, I still have, I've never made no bones about it, about mixing an EMS service or any kind of emergency service with a regular government building. But I still have to have something, and the comment he made a while ago, it's up to you 16 people, I know that. There was question about, I've heard remarks about, does she need all that? Well, yeah, because what I had laid out was a different design of a building. It was a straight rectangle building. This was it would have to be an L shape, so it brings up the things in the concept. If you're putting me there, I can do it with all the work area that he's saying. But once again, I think that what all y'all wanna know is what it's actually gonna cost, and I can't say that, he can't say that, I don't think anybody can, till you hire somebody. Do I think that being a standalone place would be better? Yes, I do. I realize we don't have it. I've heard the remarks about the taxpayers' money. Well, you know what? All of us are taxpayers' money. It's not like we're trying to inflict any punishment on this county. They talk about a payment, we're making a payment. So I mean, it's up to you 15. All I know is that if you put me there, I've got to have at least what has been laid out. Because it is gonna be a different flow, it is gonna be harder to maneuver people in and out from a standalone building. Like I said, in the presidential, we average 90 cars an hour. So, I mean, if you did, I mean, it would be nice to have the parking area, because I'm telling you, it's gonna be chaos in November of 2024.
How much parking do you have at the existing building right now?
Well, right in front of the building's not that much, but see, we use all that beside us. They give us, across the street by the Warrior Center, there in front of, the Warrior Center, Tractor Supply. When the 2020 election happened, they were parked all the way over to Tractor Supply. I mean, it's gonna be busy. Of course, we hear, you know, it work 3 times a year. Nobody has a clue. But anyway, but when we work, we'll see more people at our office than any government office up here. Any government office. In 2 weeks, we'll see next year probably between 6,000 to 10,000 people come through our parking lot. And there's not an office up here, not even all of them combined up here at this courthouse are gonna see as many people as we do. And that's what my fear is, Commissioner Kenmore, is because with the parking of the going and coming, and I mean, and I hope everybody understands that, but if we go there, we've got to have that much room to try to make it work. To try to get them in, because I can put in more areas for them to vote, to try to move them in faster for the people who are quicker to vote, can vote and get out, and the people who are then gonna be taking more time to vote will have at least a space. So that's why, like I said, I mean, we would need it. And of course, like I said, I mean, our main concern is because come March, this is a new election for us. Really, in 18 years, we've been doing the same thing, but it's all different now. And as far as accumulation, I keep hearing 10 years thrown out there, but what it is, it's a rotation, 6 years on some stuff, 2 years on some stuff, and a lifetime on some things. Lawsuits or anything from the past, before me, minutes, maps, redistricting, all that is lifetime holdings. And so that's why we need the room, like I said. And I mean, he came to that, and I told him, he'll tell you, I said, this don't work, this won't work. He'd come back to something else, just like some of the other people that have come out there. I mean, there's a lot of folks trying to help us. And I just don't think, I hate when the negativity and the stuff is across the place, because like I said, nobody wants to see money spent from the county more than have to. But I also do know this, I know that y'all got a big task before you, when we hear about lawsuits and everything else. But the other thing is this, that's not the only government office this county has. Not that office down there. There's a lot more of us that are in a dire need right now to serve all the people of this county. So, I mean, you know, like I said, it's up to you 15. I respect all of you and everything and what you have to do, and the decision comes before you. But like I said, I told Mike when he come out there and work, I realize the EMS is owned by us, but do we foresee in the future something more emergency medical service comes in, and then you're back to this process again of using that facility for emergency services, and then trying to put the election commission somewhere else again.
So Ms. Moore, so what you're saying is that as it's drawn, 4,500 square foot, you believe that we'll take care of your, not just immediate needs, but room for growth?
We can tweak it, yes, it can be tweaked, and I'd have to sit down with him to go through it with him. But yeah, I mean, I told Mike, there's still some, I still have a few little onion things, but.
Well, again, Mike's not an architect, or the intent.
No, that's right, I know.
The intent is an overall idea. If this will meet your needs, then obviously the designer, the architect, whoever they hire, would sit down with you, and they'll work through all of the minutia to make sure that it.
And I will say one thing too, as far as that respect. I met with the other 2 engineers too that did writing. I've met with the 1 architect, 2 engineers, and several commissioners. And like I said, and I appreciate the commissioners that came out there, walked through it with me. I said, and I think they got a better understanding when they went through the building and everything is what we do. But, and I even asked one engineer how he comes up with his charge. And he was real quick to tell me he has several formulas. So, and hiring an individual, I think they need to give you a price up front themselves before you pick that individual. I don't know, but I'm just telling you, one of the engineers was real quick to tell me, and Mayor Pulse was there when I asked him. I said, how do you figure what your fees are? Because I had a person just off the street come up to me that had seen the $1.6 million plan. And I said, I don't even understand why you even saw that, because first of all, I said, that guy sat down with me, and I said, as soon as I looked, I said, this won't work. I said, so that bill wasn't gonna work to begin with. it was so,
But getting back to this one,
Yes.
this would meet your needs. Is there any other comment from the election commission? Y'all have any questions that Mike might be able to answer?
I mean, I just wanna, you know, again, thank y'all for allowing us to come before you, and thank you for your efforts that you put into this. Bottom line, we have to make some changes. We've got to protect the election process here in Hardeman County. We're talking about X amount of dollars here. We've not seen money flow out of this county until we have an election that does not meet the criteria
Right.
that it should.
Well, I don't think there's anybody, no one that I've ever talked to on the commission or building committee, no one has ever thought that we didn't need to protect our elections. I mean, oh yeah, there's term limits.
Well, this is just, again, one step in the right direction to provide that level of protection that we need.
I know for me, and listening to Mike and talking to him about this over the past several weeks, initially, I was interested primarily because of cost, because it was a less expensive option, so I was certainly, with all of the things that the county has to deal with, that made it interesting. But probably, what's impressed me more is the fact I didn't recognize, I never really thought about the differences between a wood structure and a metal building that's already sprinkled from a fire safety standpoint. And it never thought about, well, if this thing catches on fire and the roof collapses, it doesn't matter if we have 4 layers of sheet rock, we got 8 layers of sheet rock, it's gonna destroy the content. Whereas having a metal building, I mean, metal doesn't burn very well. And so, not that it can't, the contents can't catch on fire, they certainly can, but, the structure's already got metal sheet, metal studs, and, many of the walls are too outrated. But the big thing is the sprinkler system. That's an expensive item to put in a facility. I mean, that's probably $100,000 plus item that we've already got. So from my standpoint, the safety issue, this building really, from all appearances, would serve us much better from a safety standpoint than any kind of wood structure. Any of the commissioners had any questions?
I just have one comment, and I agree with what you're saying on the metal building, but from my perspective, not as a commissioner, but just as a taxpayer, I'm sitting back and looking at this, and I would be interested in seeing apples for apples. I'd like to see a bid on this structure being remodeled, and I'd like to see a bid on a new building so we can compare. And that's all I have to say.
The problem with that, if life was perfect, I would agree. But the problem with that option is that in order to have a hard number, we're gonna have to hire a designer to do the remodel, and hire a designer, or even have the same designer, which just doing the plans are gonna cost us, the difference between a remodel and a new building is probably, I'm guessing, $50,000.
And again, I'd like to see those numbers, the plan numbers, how much it'd be to do a plan, so we can put it out for bids for county contractors, whoever, so the commission and the people of Hardeman County knows that we did due diligence on everything we could to get the best numbers presented to them, not just tunnel vision on one building, but so we can compare apples, a new building compared to a remodel.
Well,
That's
Todd is gonna present what he's gotten from architects here correctly, from my understanding. Is that right, Todd? In just a minute.
My question to the election board, can y'all live with this?
I mean, if we got that footage, yes, like I said, I mean, we can live with the building itself. Yeah, but I'm still saying that when you're talking price and the possibility of what can happen, I mean, I'm telling you, come November of next year, it's gonna be a lot bigger than it was 4 years ago.
Well, again,
That is not aside. If this is the building and you live in tweak to whatever you gotta do.
You know, we'd have to tweak it, but we could, if we had the square footage, yes.
As
Cause I'm tired of beating a horse to death.
we're supporting her, as commission, we want to give her what she needs to be able to.
Right. And that's why my question is this suffice?
Like I said, it'd have to be tweaked a little bit more, but we can make it work.
Not to go against you, what you're saying. I'm ready for this thing to be knocked in the head, let's go with something. If you guys are, this is what, have y'all ever thought about it? I mean, is this what you want? I mean,
We support Amber. She works there every day.
right,
You know, I can't come in your space and tell you what you need and.
Right.
and
I agree.
pop up. She know what she needs. We support her in what she wants, you know, because we're only there for a limited number of meetings. So
But
we're not there.
my-
She
my
knows what she
suggestion
needs.
is-
Now, and I agree with Brad there. Just talking about one building, we don't have anything to compare with or against.
but cost, as far as us as commissioners, we have to look at cost. We have to go to
You go
cost.
get some bids from somebody who built a
Todd
house.
is gonna address the new building portion here in just a few minutes. We just kinda wanted to take one thing at a time.
I bet she answered that, she could make that, we could live with that based on what she said.
That's what I'm getting at. Do you guys want us to go with this and let's just tell them, let's work on it? Or do
Let's
you?
see what Todd is doing.
My question though, to Ms. Moore, is you say you can work with this. So is this saying that this is, you would take it like you want it would be just as good as building you a building that stood alone?
No, and I'll tell you the reason why. It comes back to the traffic flow. That's why I said you're gonna have to give me a parking facility. And I'm telling you, it just can't be if they can't get all of it done. And I have, how many did you say possibility?
Maximum possibility, I think it was 56, and right now you would have just the minimum.
And that's me trying to put my staff during early voting, which, once again, what we've dealt with before is usually about 10 people, 10 to 12 people. I don't know that with the way the election will be, if I want to have more staff there. So we've got to remove ourselves completely out of the parking part of it, somewhere. Now, where we're gonna go, I don't know.
But there's another park in the back that would be added. I'm butted head with Mr. Mitchell on that back parking lot area that I don't feel like that the helipad is vital to the ambulance service. They don't use it. I mean, they land at the hospital. I think that could be more parking, even if we have to move the helipad, it costs maybe $10,000 to move the helipad. I mean, so the parking area, you have more parking back there that we can utilize. That's my least worry. That day I come and talk to you about the building, I told you up front, I'm not here to tell you how to organize inside. Was that enough room? And I did also mention about the 2 bay doors. I want to give you both bay doors, and I talked to Mr. Mitchell about giving you both solid bay doors. And, but that's why I asked you, can that building satisfy your needs and wants compared to a standby itself building? So the only problem you have is just the parking.
The parking facility is my problem, yes. I mean, I can make the building work with that much square footage, because by the time whoever, like I said, we'll tweak it to where it finally works for what we need. Now, he may come back when I tell him that, as far as bathrooms, whatever else, whatever I have to shift around, whatever, that, it costs me money. I don't know. I mean, I know that's what you're looking, you want to find a price. I can make it work, because all I asked for was $3,800 to begin with. But as I told somebody, that was with a straight made building. Now we're working with an L shape in communication with another building and everything else. So, I mean, I've got to have I've got to have parking area. If you got the parking area, I can make the building work.
Ms. Lake's been trying to get the floor for the last 5 minutes. Ms. Lake?
Well, my only concern being respectful and a citizen and governing body and to Ms. Amber and the industrial board. I'm just gonna say it, I would hate for Ms. Amber to be put in a building and then 4 or 5 months later, then we got to do this all over again and, you know, go back through the whole process. And I'm in agreement, and I thought we had already, like I say, been through that to see where we was versing a costly bill versus one that we already had, in place. So, I see where Mr. Grantham is coming from with, you know, the cost, but I was totally happy to see Ms. Amber, well, I'm not gonna say you. We placed Ms. Amber and her, board in a space, then like I say, 6 months when we go again with the same process. And I just don't think that would be I don't see that being feasible. I just don't. I just don't.
Amber, the parking is the issue. One question I've got that keeps coming up is about the industrial board and the possibility of utilizing an expansion. Has the industrial board been approached about this?
I have.
Okay, let's hear from
Hardeman County Industrial Board has.
Are you talking about for this site, the Bolivar Industrial Board?
the site that we're talking about right now, enlarging the parking lot. It made the statement that it belongs to the industrial board. Whether it's county or city, I don't know, but it belongs to the industrial board. My question is, have they been approached about getting some of this property that make a big parking lot out of it?
No, we have.
Okay,
I can answer that, no.
No, we have the property.
Well,
We have the property. The only thing the Bolivar Industrial Board would be needed would be get an easement for that auxiliary.
no, you're missing my point. She's talking about space. We're not talking about an easement to get back on the street. We're talking about more space, more parking area back there.
That's already ours.
Yeah.
That's already ours. That's our deed in that space.
Yes.
The only thing that we would have to address with the board
So
is,
the space is there for additional parking?
yes,
That answers the
if
question.
not the easement to get back on that side.
That answers the question she's been talking about for 10 minutes about additional parking. That's a good deal.
We could easily pick up another half acre, moving south from that, take the helipad out and move it into. That was something I did leave out, and I should have brought it up. EMS has, their concerns have been, I met with them Monday, I think, Mr. Bell did as well. They, they would like to, they have a concept of possibly a college coming in and holding classes there and this sort of thing. We are leaving them another 750 square feet that could be finished out. They've got 800 square foot, training room now. It's already finished at 625 students. We discussed that. The helipad issue, there's the 100-foot requirement, that for helipads for medical evacs have been dealt with, the 50-foot from access. So that parking we got now is designed to go around that. It will not interfere with that. Now, Mr. Wright has said that they don't use it very often. And I think I heard Jamie say that a couple of months ago, but then he told us the other day they use it often. So I don't know if they've used it more in the last month and a half than they were. Because I think a couple months ago they said they used some on-site place over at the hospital. Yeah, I think they did say that. But anyway, we did discuss those two things. Like I said, ultimately their function does not change.
We're still missing one thing that I brought up in the building committee meeting, about the ambulance authority. You've got a new trucking company out there, you've got extreme traffic. When she's got election, you're gonna have all that added traffic. The way the EMS has to come out on Lucy Black, those days, that trucking company done moved in out there without the ambulance authority having a way to get out on Lucy Black, at that time, you got a problem, the ambulance won't be able to get out.
No, they still come out on where they come out now, nothing's changed with that.
You're not getting my point. You got a new trucking company that's moved in out there.
Okay,
Alright, and they're regional and they're local. I was through there the other day, there's trucks lined up coming out of Lucy Black,
okay,
trailer trucks.
okay,
Alright, you get that, and then you get all this traffic from the election commission on those days, coming out on Lucy Black.
okay.
Coming up to a stop sign, you got 2 trailer trucks and 14 cars. How's the ambulance gonna get out?
Well, it sounds like they already have a problem with the ambulance getting out now, right?
There ain't no election going on, that is a problem, yes, so my point is, there needs to be another entrance for the EMS to come out to that stop sign. Private entrance, or exit, where they can get to that stop sign emergency, because of the traffic.
What we're giving them now.
She's overloading, you're gonna be overloading Lucy Black, what
Oh,
I'm
so
saying.
you're wanting to send the EMS out to where? Where?
To the stop sign.
Out to 64.
To 64, to the stop sign, where they can get out of there.
Now, you do realize that the south parking lot, from there to 64 is not our lane.
Who's the chairman?
You can get, already it's state, right?
No, that's industrial park property. And
There you go again, we need the industrial board in online on this.
so you're talking about rerouting all of that traffic to 64. Okay, that's yeah, well, that's something, that's another call we ain't talked about either.
That's exactly right.
You're talking about addressing something that election bill or not has to deal with.
Well,
But what we're talking about, just so the fire marshal, just is quite clear, no, if we're ever gonna use that space, that 5,600 feet we have now, fire marshal's gonna require, we deal with this separation of entity parking and traffic anyway. So be prepared to spend, if you're ever gonna rent that to any other client, anybody else. I don't care what it is, you're gonna have to spend $100,000 just to do that, even if, and I understand your issue, but you're gonna have to buy property from the industrial, well, that's another whole separate critter we can't even address, because that's a separate part. It's not, I was addressing just coming off of an easement to that other road. I wasn't addressing bringing anything out
so
64.
it's gonna be a problem.
Well, they sound like they already got a problem for it to be a truck.
But it's gonna be multiplied, what I'm saying, when she puts those 90 cars an hour or whatever out there. Got a serious problem.
How far is it from that EMS entrance to 64?
100 feet,
Right now?
150 feet?
Oh, no, it's, gosh, I don't know, it's probably,
350.
it's probably 300 feet.
350. Yeah, about 4 trucks will back it up to their entrance.
Yeah, from where is it now? And then the other one is just to come in place, I mean, they can come in and drive around 30, that, like I said, still planning on, they use that as an exit. Sure. I'm not trying to change anything.
I just added some.
That's what we're talking about.
Corey?
Now, the trucking company y'all referring to, I actually, have a truck leased on there. And, harvest time, the trailers will be in white. Van and flatbed, we gonna come in exactly at the same time, okay? We're talking about traffic. You have, where the election commission is right now, you have Tractor Supply, you have Domino's Pizza, you have Dollar Tree, you have Fast Pace, you have the hotel. That's a lot of traffic. You know, in the trucking business, truckers don't come in usually at the same time. Okay? So if you're talking about traffic, you got traffic right now. Okay, so if Tractor Supply have a sale, Dollar Tree have a sale, Domino's Pizza running a special, you got a lot of traffic, you got a lot of parking places being taken up. Okay, so I had a meeting with some of my constituents, and they told me that if it's less money and the county owns the building, why not utilize that building? If we had to add some more parking spaces, if we're gonna spend some money, let's build a big parking lot. Common sense. That's all I had to say.
That was my question.
Less
Y'all are-
is not always better either. Less money's not always better, okay?
I agree.
That building, and what we're talking about is gonna be long past all of us. Commissioners, it's gonna be long past us. We'll be able to lock in here, and we still gotta go vote. We've gotta think in terms of future growth. Our industrial park out there, we may get some business from Blue Oak, that we have contractors or other companies come out and build buildings out there to supply Blue Oak. We gotta look long term, not just for today, what's happening right now. So we gotta look long term. Hopefully, we will get more businesses here, more industrial places out there, which will increase more traffic out there. So we gotta still look long term, not just today, just because we need to get a building built or get in a building right now. We still gotta look long term. As where location of where we're putting something at. You know, that's just something we gotta look at also.
My question is, if these 15, 16 decide they wanna do this, can y'all do it?
She just said she can make it work.
With the parking.
Right.
Sorry, I don't want to talk about that. One more thing, I'm sorry. Time. If we were to build a new building, would it be constructed by November? Is it
It would
November?
have, it definitely has to be done before November.
Definitely have to be done.
It has to be done before.
So a year from now,
It has to be done by November.
So
I mean,
time
I'm
take-
concerned about August already anyway, but I mean, we're gonna make, which, I mean, I knew I already threw it out there, we're going to buy our fireproof safe to try to take care of March. But,
We understand.
yeah,
We understand.
and so I've got to do that, but August, like I said, I don't know.
The architects that I had talked to said that once a contract is issued, to expect 300 days before you get in the go, so.
Yes.
10 months, basically, from the time, not from the time they bid, but the time a contract is issued to a contractor.
So
For
we'll
new,
be back
for
there.
new construction.
Right there.
Jay?
Yes, sir. My question, this plan right here, excluding the storage bay, would that equal 4,900 square feet roughly? What does that equal?
Excluding the EMS storage, it's gonna be about 48, 4800.
So my question,
The heating space is 42, 41 to 42, yeah, about 700 feet.
so this is 48, we started with 38, now we're at 48. We may could come up with a different option if we had a better, square footage. Like, that's 1,000 square feet difference. So, we don't know what she needs as far as square footage. So, like, with that being 38, she's now saying 48. We
No,
may-
no, 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 no,
She's done.
I did not. I was looking,
This comes out for you.
Okay,
He gives her 1,000.
let me explain. The 38, I mean, that's what she minimum needs. We're looking at long-term solution. We don't want to be doing this 5 years from now. We talked 15, I said, I'm gonna look at you 15 years from now, you still do that. I mean, we're planning that 15-year growth, that's why that big room over there, it may not need but a few voting machines right now, but in 10 years, we may have 30 in there. And it's designed for 30 voting machines maximum in that space.
Well, my concern was, we may could come up with a better option that doesn't require all this construction and rerouting and traffic issues if we had a more specific square footage.
I don't think we can get the cost down that much more, because that big room, that 1,400 square foot room, is really not much there. I mean, it's already, we're basically just included, putting carpet, ceiling tile, insulation, still sprinkled the same, just got a built sprinkler. I mean, it's 3.5 tons of air conditioning, we're cutting down a little, that's not gonna be that significant, I don't think. I mean, as I said, I'm all for saving some money, that's why I'm doing this. But when we're talking about tweaking a tenant finish out space on something, we're talking 500 square feet. You know, delegate that now, and it's theirs forever. That's the reason, and that's the way it is for her, that potential growth, and she has to reroute traffic, because, I know, I spent 6 hours with her of how this, she's telling me scenarios, when we get this many people, this many other machines, it's changing. She's prepared herself for that, so she's not gonna come back.
We'll be able to put more, but the reason I'm saying as far as, because first of all, we're not looking at just one straight main building. You're looking at something, and from what I understood, what I was told, that far end was only 2,600 square feet to begin with, so I don't know.
28, yes, 28, correct.
I was told 26.
It's
Anyway, but anyway, neither here nor there. And I said that won't work because that's less, that by the time you took the bathroom and kitchen out, that was less than what I had workable area. So in trying to make it flow, he'll tell you, he had different things up. I said, no, it can't work, or flow, whatever. Because of the parking situation and trying to move people in and out faster. When early voting opened in 2020, we probably had 150 people standing in line. But it was a machine that they just simply went in there, zip, 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 hit the button, they's out the door. Now they come in, they go through the same process when they start, but then once they get to the back room, then a piece of paper has to print out. They've got to be directed to an area to go to. Whereas somebody trying to write something is gonna take a lot longer than somebody punching something. And then let's just say they don't write enough in the thing and the machine, the scanner doesn't pick it up. There could be a delay of the scanner in trying to get them out. What I'm saying is that people that'll be quicker will get in and out, and those who can't get any quicker. So, whereas you've been used to maybe 4 to 5 people voting at a time, we're gonna have it where at least 20 people will be able to vote at a time if they're in line to try to get them out. But I gotta have a parking facility to do that. The building, I mean, we had asked when we did the straight main building, we just wanted a door on the end, that where people could pull up at night, on election night, unload the equipment to go straight into the building. Mike said, what if you had one of the bays to pull in there and back? I said, that'd be fine, that's fine. But the reason we're trying to go with a larger voting area is to move the people faster. Because like I'm telling you, there's over 125 people standing in line at 9 o'clock when voting started.
That brings my question, Amber, you just mentioned it. Earlier you said an L shape, I wouldn't follow you, but now I am, because I see this storage.
Right.
Why are we keeping that as, just curiosity here, why are we keeping that as EMS storage? Why can't we just, like you say, have a rectangle building for you? I mean, why are we keeping that? Is it, I mean, we can take that in and out, I'm sure, of the plane. The EMS storage, why are we doing that? The EMS storage or future classroom, why? Is that gonna be part of her building, or is that gonna be just an open room?
It'll still be a bay door, is what they're
That's
saying.
what you talking about,
That'd be a bay door.
top corner right here?
Yes. Still be a bay door back there?
There is a bay door there now.
Okay.
And so,
Right.
yeah, all we're doing is petitioning off basically 1/4 of those two, there's two, right here was a bay for a truck, here was a drive-through bay for a truck.
Right.
We're basically giving them 1/4 of that, they said they need miscellaneous storage, but then they put a training class or something in there.
Okay.
That's for them to future develop.
But they'll be totally blocked off from my area.
Yes.
Right.
The bay door would remain there, of course, for drop-off, but
Okay, that makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
Up front with the other 2 bay doors?
No.
Or that's
They
gonna
go
be-
away, get finished out, and there's gonna be 2 pedestrian doors, 3 doors coming here and here.
Okay.
One, this would likely be the entrance according to Amber, and then they'll work through the system, come out through this door over here, and then work their way through the building and exit this door. But again, she can change that, she's got 3 doors that she come through, and I told her it doesn't really affect the construction, we will give you the space, and she will deal with the interior tweaks and whatever, so.
Okay. I just didn't understand the storage, the L shape. You clarified that thing. I think the key to this though is, definitely getting a retainer wall, if you might say that, a blockage out front, and definitely parking. I see those 2 being the key to separate, get complete separation.
the
Okay?
parking is the key of making it all work.
It definitely, from what we've been talking about.
Because so that people won't try to even, and you can think what you want and put walls up where you want. But if somebody ain't got somewhere to park down that end, I can tell you where they're gonna go. They're gonna go to the EMS area.
Yeah.
Because if they came to vote, they're gonna come to vote.
Right.
So,
Thank you.
So we, guess, before we move on, is there, this isn't a public meeting, but does anybody in the audience have, would anybody like to say anything?
Mr. Chairman, before we move, are we moving on from this subject?
Well, I was gonna make a motion, but go ahead.
But before you do, can I have 1 minute, please, to make just a closing, because I do have to leave here in just a few minutes. But, my point all along is I'm not tunnel vision on a new building. I want to make that clear to everybody in this room. My job to the people of Hardeman County is make the best decision that I can. And I think that's what we're all doing here. But I cannot make a decision, just like on anything in life, until I compare prices. I don't go to the store and buy it because I want it and see it. I have to compare. This is my statement right now, and I'm gonna let it lie. I'd like to know from TLM, A2H, and Mark Hawks, who has been in this mixed conversation, about what they can do for the county and how much they can do it for. All three. I'd also like to know from local contractors what they can do this building for and what they can do a new building for, and the timeline that it takes to do each. Then I would like to know, have all that information presented to this committee and then to the commission, and also presented to the election commission to make the best decision that this group can make as a whole.
I concur.
My only question is, how can you do that without the sub-plans?
You cannot do it without you don't have to have a complete set of plans. You can have a floor plan and get a preliminary estimate with the cost contingency of plus or minus.
Which is what I think Todd's gonna do, talk to, that's what I think.
Is Mark included in his plans?
Again,
My question to the mayor is Mark Hawks' plans included in this conversation of numbers?
well, again, he's gonna address all of that.
Okay, he just commented, no, it is not. So I can't make a number just on those two. I mean, I can't make a decision on those two. I'd like to know everybody that's on board on this and their opinions, their numbers, and what they can do for the county and the people of Hardeman County. And that's all I have to say. And thank you for your time.
Okay.
All right, that's a good point. What was down to, you had 300 and how many days?
I'm sorry, what was that?
How many days till the presidential election?
Well, you're a year away.
365 days.
No, the November election is the presidential election.
Presidential.
August is the state primary and county general.
Okay,
August is the state primary and county general.
Okay.
March is the presidential preference primary and the local party's primary.
okay.
So, 3 elections next year.
3 elections next year.
Yes, sir.
The
The
big
presidential
election
one,
will
the
be-
big one is in November, you're a
In
year away.
November. Okay, so we're looking at plans, funding, architectural plans, voting on commission, you're looking at a year.
But that's anywhere we go.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, you got to remember that the presidential election is the biggest election, and she needs some space.
Well, again, I'd like to, take a time, move on.
Okay.
We've got budget numbers on the renovation project from Mike. Some of that will be dependent on, we do the whole parking lot or partial of the parking lot, so basically we've got 2 numbers. And then Todd's gonna address budgets from, 2 design firms, I think, here in just a minute. But, before we do that, in my opinion, I think it's wise, I would like to ask the building committee if there's anybody would like to make a formal recommendation to the commission that this might be an option to consider. And if that's the case,
One point,
yeah.
to fulfill Amber's needs, the figures he gave us on the parking lot, it's not gonna be right. They're gonna need to be added to. So you need to put that in your equation. To give her the ample parking that she says she's gonna need is not the parking that he has got the figures on. It's gonna be more.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Well, my understanding is that Mike presented two options. One
Yes,
is
sir, but the option that she's saying is not big enough.
Amber, that's not my understanding. So,
What was the maximum that you can get?
The one that with the two entrances that I showed you, the maximum going up above, going west of the helipad with the 56 parking places, the full 3/4 acre or half acre, whatever it was there, 28,000 square feet. That was what I considered the extra $50,000 maximum parking that I'm showing you, not the existing little 22 places that you have now by just putting an entrance in. So that was put us at the $300,000 mark, $350 to put that maximum parking, carrying it on around, and the second entrance on the possible industrial board's easement to that little auxiliary road over there.
And somebody who does paving did told you that amount.
And that, yeah, that included, that's the higher price option, would put us at $350 plus whatever the architectural fees are.
That's with 50 parking places.
56, I think, is what we had.
That's 56 total.
That's 56 total on that, and as Mr. Wright recommended, possibly if you take out the helipad and move it, spend 10 grand on moving it, 150 feet south, and you can pick up another 1/4 acre or more, pick up another.
With the additional cost.
Yeah, I mean, you can keep adding parking all day long, you got 5 acres. I mean, you can add 300,000 if you want that much parking.
The only thing I would ask that when, whatever decision's made, is had the project is complete and the parking area is complete with as maximum as many parking spaces as can be. Whether it's 56, 75, 100, I don't care, but whatever the maximum parking space can be.
That would be the 350.
That can be worked out, that can be worked out with what the county has.
I mean, I'm sitting here as a commissioner thinking, are y'all okay with this? Is this what you want? You know, that's where I was going with my question earlier.
As I told you, John,
I knew we were wanting a standalone.
standalone would be the ideal thing for us. I'm not gonna lie about it, I told you, because I do have concerns. I have concerns with the trucks, I have concerns with the ambulances, I have all those concerns. But if you can give me a large enough parking facility and the commission decides this is where they wanna go because of money, then I understand that too. Commission and I will make it work, like I said, but it will have to be quick. And I don't know what he would charge for that, like I said, because that's the unknown. But I do have a question, how, if this project goes through this way as far as the remodeling, how's that funding gonna be handled?
That's something that the commission will have to deal with. I mean, whether or not we borrowed the money, I don't think that that's, again, that's something the commission
That's
will have
something
to
the
handle.
commission will have to.
Well, the reason I'm asking that is because if you give me this facility and all the maximum parking space, and it comes out at the most, your opinion, I know it's your opinion, but what would you say would be the most?
350.
Basically, 350 and then the architectural fees, and I'm just gonna stab it 25 for that, so under 4. 375 is where I think you're probably in that number.
Okay. Because my thing is this, if you've got 400,000 to put into a renovation, and we pay $2,000 rent already,
Come on, we.
and the standalone fee, standalone building by itself, putting $400,000 down on it, and then borrowing the additional, you're still not gonna be able to put no more for pay than you are now. I'm just saying that, because I don't know what the price of the new building would be. And first of all, but I do not believe that building would be 1.6 million, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. But anyway,
That's stupid, dude.
yeah.
So again, I'd like to make a motion that the election, or that the building committee, offer this as an option for the commission to consider. To me, I think he's addressed virtually every concern. Certainly, it's not a standalone building, but again, it's considerably larger in floor space than the standalone building option, which would,
That's where I was going with it. You're getting more square footage.
so,
Then what-
anyway, do I hear a motion to present this to?
I'm trying to chase the tail of it.
Yeah, you made the motion, I seconded it.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed? So, we will make this, as a recommendation to the commission to consider. Next thing on the agenda is building site options, and, I think, Bobby was gonna talk to us a little bit about building sites.
Well, tell you, as a commissioner and a citizen, I'm completely, lost, honestly. I'm gonna go through this. I got Mike gonna show a couple of slides on some property. You know, the Hardeman County Fair, I don't know if the school board is still in play in this or not. Are they, Amber?
I would say no, that's my personal opinion, but I would say no.
Okay, because this is what I'm getting at. The Hardeman County the Hardeman County Fair operation and functions of the old fairgrounds land was at the city, at the old city park. Most of us remember where it used to be. The reason they had to move is because they outgrew the property. And
What?
I outgrew the property
Oh.
where the old fairgrounds was. The Optimist Club was there, they had the baseball league there, the high school played baseball there, and they had a fair on the same baseball field. So in 1988, the state offered, the original parcel was obtained by the fair board from the Optimist Club. The state of Tennessee gave Hardeman County 27 acres in 1988 for the fair to be moved there for a 50-year lease with the county. The county constructed a new facility for Hardeman County Fair. In 1995, Hardeman County gave the Hardeman County Board of Education 4.5 acres. And then in the second photo with the health department, later the new Highway 64 lane constructed utilizing and cutting 3.7 acres of its track. The county relocated the health department to the fairgrounds. This along with the old highway they showed on the map, 64 road frontage. It ate up 3 acres. The UT Extension Office, the exhibit hall, the Ag Pavilion, the cattle arena area, and the arena driveway in the midway area has been fenced in and separated. It takes up another 13 acres of that 27 acres. So parking, you know, Amber, we're part of the fairground committee. On our big events, all we have is 4.5 acres left of the fair for parking. If we're going to grow in this community, we do not, and that's why I was against putting it on where the school board is. We do not need to put anything that's going to take up any more of our parking. So my reason for reminding the committee is that because I am a member of the agribusiness, and there's no way of adding to this parcel, we are today considering a new location for our election commission office, and one of the biggest reasons is because we have outgrown facilities. Our architect reminded us of this, that we need to be prepared for the growth to make sure that we have in place for our new election commission. As we are set against carving out any other acres for the new building or parking for any other government complex. If we take out room for another building, we would be looking for another 25 acres in the years to come for a new fairgrounds. Saying all that, County Board, the industrial board, to check and see if there's any possibility, way that they would make available property in the industrial board. And they voted last week to make available, if the county commission desires, 3.43 acres on the corner of Highway 18 and the airport, that we won't have to buy. So that would be less cost if we went with a building for a standalone. Also, we have another on photo 7, by the animal shelter. Another location owned by Hardeman County is on Cliff Road, probably next to the animal shelter, is enough to allow traffic on and off the road onto a lot and parking, lots of parking area. We own that. It's good property that we can build a building there. So with saying that, I would like to see this board.
Where is that?
Out there by the airport.
Well, that's out there by the.
Right next to the animal shelter, where the old apartments were.
That's getting you plumb out of town.
Yes, that's out there in the.
Well,
Just go-
I do sit on the Agri Center, but if you was gonna move a place for a fair, I think you put it out of the.
No, this ain't moving nothing up to the fair. The fair staying where it's at. I'm saying don't take any more land from the fair because of growth. Don't take anything away from the school system, their property, because of growth. What I'm saying is, we own that property out by the animal shelter, so maybe that would be a location that we can build a new election commission office.
That'd be like the people going out to Solid to vote. I can tell you that.
What's the difference if we come to Grand Junction of Olive or Pocahontas?
No, I'm
or-
just telling you.
I'm just saying, what's the center? Or, the other place was,
At the Agri Center, they were talking about just going out from the end there at first from the exhibit building.
right,
And we already had the parking facility out there for it.
but then they wanted more all the way to those trees.
Who wanted more? No, that was with the school board property. We're not even talking about that. I'm talking about if the building was built, not being built where they were projecting it with the school board. The first original thing that was talked about was where the Agri Center sits. Mike, can you go back to that picture?
Right there,
Right here is the.
Is that the, okay. So, all right, move your arrow over to the left a little bit. All right, you see where the demolition derby, oh my gosh, is, they were talking about moving that over to another spot on the place and utilizing right there at the end of that building so that you could use the UT's parking lot and the gravel parking lot, because Gary Rogers told me out of his own mouth, it's only about once a year, and it's usually around January, that they even use that much of the parking facility. Now, that was straight out of Gary's mouth to me. So we'd be able to use that, and then whatever else might be put in front of the building that we would build, that would be right there. Now, another spot that was brought up was down there towards the end. Move the arrow all the way up, yeah, Mike, where you come off the Highway 64. They spoke about right there by Stockdale's, because it was discussed about the utilities and everything could come straight off the highway to it, and that it wouldn't be as much of the utilities. Now, that was the only spots other than when they first talked about the Board of Education, and I think everybody's in agreement, that's off the plate, at least I think it is. But that was the other two spots that was discussed out there. And it
But
was
those
still.
two spots, don't you agree? 2 years ago, we had the derby, we run completely out of parking spaces. We had them parked in the Stockdales, we had them parked in the school board, we had them parked in every piece of grass we could find them, then they had to start parking on the highway. If we keep buildings and structure on that property, we're gonna be in the same shape we were in 1988.
But what I'm saying, for a business, to me, it would be more sensible to put it there. And if the fair outgrew it, which from the committees I've sat on with it out there and listening to it, we're never gonna have probably much more than a carnival. So is a demolition derby gonna take precedence over somebody's voting? I mean, I mean, that's my.
But we got other property, though, I'm saying that other options that I think this board should consider that the county owns, besides taking up property from the school board or taking up from our, original fairgrounds.
Well, my thing was, there's a $65,000 sign sitting out there for advertising elections and everything, all right? I mean, it's got a big enough place to park, and it's right off the highway, and everybody's gonna go to Walmart. So my thing was trying to encourage more people to vote, and that's why that's why that discussion was for that area, was them.
And that's why the EMS is right across the street.
Yeah, but that's what I've not
So
said I'm
traffic's
dead
on
against
both sides of
EMS.
the road.
I'm not saying I'm dead set against EMS. I did not say that. I'm saying if you can have a park facility, help me.
Yeah.
Then, I mean, that's
Right.
what I'm saying. I would rather see,
But I was just giving the board another option with, that's what I think they need to look at, what properties we have. If it's involved, what our Hardeman County, what other options we have without having to buy property. That's just.
no, I don't want to see them to buy property when they own property.
Right.
No.
I'd like to say no disrespect to you, Bobby, but out there at Cliff Road, we were talking about traffic earlier here, Russell, about tractor trailers and trucks. Let's get off Cliff Road and go on 18. That won't work out there, I promise you that. That's a horrible, horrible place right there to get in and out off 18. That's just my personal opinion right there on Cliff Road, out there by the dog shelter. The same little spot you came up with right there at the airport is really no different off 18. That's just my opinion. That's horrible traffic. If you want to talk about traffic, that's not good.
But that's my argument about traffic, and me and Mr. Butler was talking a while ago. How does, here we are, Bolivar, what's our population, Mayor? 16,000? Hardeman County.
Hardeman County's 25,
Okay,
a little over
all right.
25,000.
So then you talk about Memphis or Jackson has more traffic and they deal with it every day. I mean, I don't get the traffic part of it. I was just trying to give the board some options to consider that we own.
Well, it certainly makes sense to me if we're designing and building an election building with an eye to the future because we anticipate growth, that we ought to keep in mind through all the growth, not just for the election, but for the fair as well. So it would make sense to me to investigate any ground that if the new building is the way we go, it doesn't make sense to me to take it out of the fairgrounds. I didn't realize that the space was that tight already, and we anticipated growth.
But you're talking about a demolition, Darby. That's it.
No, I mean, again, but I was talking about growth, if we're looking at growth.
Growth, yes.
I mean, growth is growth. If we are building an election building bigger than we need for the anticipated growth, that anticipated growth is not gonna be just to elections. It's gonna be the people going to the fair, honestly, the schools, everything's gonna have to be, an eye towards growth. So in my mind, if a standalone building is the way we go, we probably ought to give heavy consideration to someplace other than the fairgrounds, just because it's landmark, we can't expand it, so we would have to, like Bobby said, pack it up and move it 25 acres further down the road, which, so.
That was my whole point is that we need to research if we're gonna go with standalone property we already own and cut the cost down.
My problem is, we beat this horse to death for a year.
But I'm for the EMS. I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm
You
not.
gotta have something by November.
Yes, and that's the quickest way.
That's why I asked the question I asked. I was an advocate for her a new building.
Me too.
Still ain't. But if this will work, it gives you 1,000 square more feet. We'll fix the parking and get as many as we can. I say let's roll with it.
The new
And
building,
I
to
hate to say
me,
it that way, but I'm tired of beating horse to death. We gotta get you somewhere.
building a new building, I'm not out of the loop on it either. I'm kind of open to any suggestion here. But the $100 million question is, where are we gonna build it? and we're gonna sit around here for 6 months
I don't
arguing about
disagree
what
with you.
plot we're gonna build it on. So,
Mark, I don't disagree at all I'm just saying.
I guarantee
the brother's
that's the
got a
problem.
valid point.
that's gonna be the problem. So, I'm not trying to discourage building a new building, I'm just saying that's another hurdle we're gonna have to jump over. It's where are we gonna build it, unless y'all got a good idea, and I'm all for it. I don't know, I don't know.
I
where
work
we're
with the Agri Center and I meet every time they meet with them, and I'm telling you, that, the out there by, just, if it's either going straight out one way or up the other way, I mean, as far as that goes, if a facility was put by Stockdale's and a parking facility is put in there, that's just that much more parking area for the fairgrounds. It's not gonna take up that area. The EMS, like I said, if I get the parking area, we'll make it work. But a new building would not be a problem at that Agri Center. I'm sorry, I have to disagree with anybody on that because I am a faithful member of that committee and I have been to those meetings and I know what projects go on out there and I know what it entails. And I do know even with the growth, that there's still room to grow out there.
Well, that's a good site then to start with, if she's happy there.
So I mean, you know.
Not saying that's where we're gonna break ground.
No,
I'm just saying that's
no, I'm
a
just
site
saying,
of
yeah.
potential, okay? So,
If you're gonna be looking at it and do it, that would be the perfect place to be.
Oh, I'm talking about, how to get in to get her in.
Why don't we table this discussion, and move on to the next item, which is Don talking to us about that. Give us an update.
Thank you very much. Good to see everybody here.
All right. Hey,
My task, just a little history of where we are, where we're moving from. Of course, we've been in this particular building for how many years, Ms. Amber? 17 years? 18
I've been there
years?
18, it was there before me.
Okay, it's 18 years you've been there. That was just a question. All right. It was proposed back months ago. There was, from a letter from Mr. Vaughn, way back in April, about what he would do if he needed more space, of course, to build on. That particular area has 2,400 square feet. And if the issue now with these new machines, it was a mandate, of course, that we have to have these new machines. Now, it changes the whole perspective of everything. I had originally said, well, maybe, is there a way to reconfigure the building? Try to be objective and look at all the options. Would it not be prudent maybe to try and work it out for this one to see if you could vote in this big room? And it should come in. And maybe move your other part where you come in to do that on the other side. Mr. Vaughn said he would do anything he could, but that was somehow let go for the options. I think he had gone from $1,300 since 2009 to finally $1,750, and then he moved it up to $2,000 a month. There is another option available that just came available. I don't know if y'all considered or heard about this, but it was the Bolivar Bulletin Building. It has 4,400 square feet in it.
No parking.
Yeah, and they happen to own that other lot beside it as well, so.
Still not that part.
Yeah, but that was, just want to throw that out, that was also suggested, so. But it's my task, and to let you know, whatever's decided, it still needs to run through the budget committee, and let them look and see how they want to do the financing. I've got a letter from our financial advisor that said at this point, it's not prudent to be borrowing money because, you made reference to the pending lawsuits, it's very serious. We've gotten several of them settled. Federal is different, it's not insured. You have to write a check, whatever it is. And there's difference when that happens. A federal judge can come in and set your own tax rate. It's like a sunshine rate. I don't know if you're familiar with that, until that's paid off. That's a separate issue. My part is about the financing. So I've got a letter that says at this time they wouldn't recommend it because your credit rating, based upon that very principle we're talking about, your credit rating goes down. Your rate then goes up to borrow money. I have some rates here. We have to get permission from the state when we go and borrow the money. We have a guy named Nate Fontenot says to do a capital outlay project. It's different from a bond issue project because of the amount we're talking about. If it's under so many million, they recommend that you do a capital outlay. Well, a capital outlay by state says to do it for 12 years. So if you're gonna amortize 12-year payment, depending on what you're borrowing, I have the figures here. 400,000 will be 39.74. And that's based on a 6.25% interest rate. If you're going up, you can gauge it like that. If it's 400, it's right at 4,000. If it is 500, it's 4,968. So if you're going up, you can keep gauging it by that, $100,000 increments. So that's where we are based on that. On the qualifications for the engineers, the law has changed, and it says that you can't just base it upon a number. You can get estimated project cost numbers, but you can't just say, oh yeah, his is lower, we're gonna go with him. You have to evaluate and call for an RFQ, request for qualifications. When they turn those in, then either the procurement officer or a committee would then decide who is the best one for the project, not based on cost. So it could be $1.2 million to $1.6 million, based upon the size of that and the site evaluation and the work that you have to do. But that's based on a cost estimate of over $200 to up to $280 a square foot. But now that was for around 3,800 to 4,000 square feet. Let's say you have a cost variable of 25%. All right, let's go from $1.6 million, you're going down 25%. You're still looking at $1.2 million. Let's say you drop that out from the 10 to 15%, and you're at $1 million. Let's stop and think. $1 million. And it's taxpayer money. So we all have to be very cautious of what we have to do here. I don't agree with building a new building, and I'll tell you why. I struggled with it at first. You know, I looked at this project, I talked to Ms. Moore about it. I looked at the EMS building, I thought about everything, about going in, the egress, everything about it. At first, I didn't like it, but then the point came up, when you're out in the county, people are saying, well, you have a building, it's sitting there empty. Why not remodel it, and why not use it, and not spend $1 million of taxpayer money to build a new facility? So that's what we hear. So there's where we are. I think if we could remodel and do a good estimate, and she's already said she's happy with it, and if she agrees with it, why not go with it? You know, but that's my opinion. But you know, as a financial officer, I have to look at these type of things. The commissioners make those decisions. Then I have to get down into the meat of it about the financing part of it. And so does the budget committee. So.
Well, who gave the paper 1.6 million?
I don't know. I didn't. That's a cost estimate from one.
That's what is wrong. I mean, we never even got that price.
Yeah.
But now the paper gets it and the public hears it.
I didn't give it to them.
There's no way that building's gonna cost 1.6 million.
Well, I have the estimated cost from two different.
Is it that building or one they come up with?
It's 3,800.
It's the one she drew.
No.
It's with all their civil engineering, architectural engineering, a site work that they put money in there not knowing where a site would be. Yeah, they got site prep of $225,000.
Bull, yes, when you put
Yeah.
something in the paper. that says-
Well, and they also put on here, the architect design and civil engineer designs are nearly over 160,000 along with their, that's
Because
the.
we had a local contractor tell us around $100 a square.
You cannot do it that way by law. And I will tell you, that's estimated fees for that particular one. You cannot go by law, as I have said, and I'll say it again. If you didn't hear me the first time, you can't go by that. You can go by the qualifications, and then you can hire the TLM, or the A2H, or the mark that was brought
That's
to
right, that's what I'm
discussion.
saying, so that's why
No,
when
ma'am,
they
I
put
have
that.
the floor, thank you. When that is discussed, then you will go into those figures, even if the variables come in. I'm not for spending $1 million, I don't make that decision. You'll have to live with it, and so will the taxpayers. But I've got to justify that through the financials, and I cannot justify it through the financials.
Todd, you sent out 3 RFQs, correct?
I did.
And those are to who?
Definitely to, A2H. The law says if you have an established relationship already, and actually we do have with 2. We have this, the TLM and the A2H, because they have built buildings for us, and they're already contracted for us.
So they both responded,
Yes, they did.
and, if you had time to go through,
Their
their qualifications.
qualifications are for structural, for electrical, and for all their engineering. They have the qualifications. They are licensed in the disciplines that you may need for a new building or for remodeling.
And have they given you budget numbers? Again, a budget number
Yes, sir.
is designed to give you an idea. It's usually plus or minus 10%.
That's the 1.6.
I don't know,
That's
I don't know, is that 1.6 from A2H, or is that from?
There are 2. There's one from A2H and there's another one that's less from another company. Those are budgetary numbers,
Right.
but they're not hard numbers yet.
So, I understand, but again,
And that shouldn't have been in the paper for people to look at. That shouldn't have been in the paper for people to look at.
I had no idea who put it in the paper, I don't even.
That's fine. When we were talking $400,000. Next thing you know, it's 1.6 million in the paper. And people are going, well, you said it's $400,000? I don't know where the figure's coming.
Yeah.
Well,
See, unfortunately, another point with this, see, anything you do now, the law says if it's over 50,000, you have to have that licensed engineer, to do those, or architectural designs, but it has to be licensed and stamped. Now, the TLM has the others, they were the original builder on that, for Mary Saint, back a few years ago. So they were the original ones that did that particular structure. So they have the full plans.
So, but we do have budget numbers from both the design firms that responded to the RQF.
Yes, sir. Yes. And we don't have anything yet from, Mr. Hawks.
But did he respond?
He did respond. He turned in his resume.
So is he practicing all of the disciplines?
Is this that they're required, or at this point, it's architect? Yeah.
So he would have to hire, or we would have to hire engineers?
Yes, sir, for the other part.
He would. If you go with any of the 3 of them, they'd be responsible. If you went with Mark Hawes, which you already said, he told that night the $25,000 would be his architectural fee, he'd be responsible for getting the engineering plans.
So, but we just need to verify that it covers engineering, HVAC, site work, it includes it, we just need, if he don't have it on staff, the other 2 people have it on staff, so that's just a part of their package. If he doesn't have people on staff, it would then be verified what he's providing for that number, and it's not just a set of drawings, because drawings are just a small piece of the overall construction package.
And that's unfortunate, but that's the way the law reads, and that's the way we have to do it.
Well, I mean,
Keep us out of trouble. We wouldn't want to do anything we're not supposed to, but if it's over 50, you have to have that.
architects, I deal with school systems all the time, that's what I do for a living. And architectural firms typically, with the way it works, is they all work off the same percentages, and the way the state wants it to proceed is that typically they'll come in and they'll make a presentation as on a project, and they want to be selected not because they're the cheapest, but because they're the best. And so they compete with each other, not to be the cheapest designer out there, but to be able to design the best building that meets the needs, etc.
So I'm assuming that none of y'all have seen the resumes of any of the 3 of them.
So that's what the RFQs are. That's why I was
I know,
asking.
but the commissioners haven't seen them.
No, that's what I said. Those, because from my understanding, it'll be up to Todd to select the design.
Procurement officer or a committee. Yeah.
So, yeah, we have, that's why I'm
So,
sure or not.
If you want one, yes, but that's how the law reads. So they have not, no matter, they have not seen.
But the engineer was real quick to say, he whacked them out and said, 280 a square foot, whereas we've got well reputable contractors in this county that said 125. And I don't understand why one guy would say that and another guy would say he can't do it.
Because it's two different types of construction.
Well, that may be true too, but until, I
Well,
think that's what
it's-
Brad's point was with
Because
the apples to apples.
which is what,
Yes, that's just, and two, really, it's up to the budget committee. I mean, these are hard decisions. I thank everybody for having this discussion, and this is hard, it's been difficult, and I'm like Commissioner Beard, I'm ready to move on something. You know, I know y'all are.
Yeah, 'cause I've been dealing with it for 13 months.
Well,
And
yes, ma'am. But what we're all trying to help this morning. Nobody is against you, nobody's trying to do things. We're trying to help, but there's more than one option.
I realize that, Mayor Coles, but this is my thing, as I said before, and I'm not trying to be ugly or tacky to anybody, because I do not wish I would not want to do y'all's job for what you have to do for no amount of money, first of all. But really, the only hard thing that's been done in the last few weeks, and when I came to the commission 9 months ago, and so that's what, and I know that all them was sick of hearing my story. I said, even Mike said he could almost quote it because he's done heard it so many times from me.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, like I said, this didn't just happen in the last month, it's been over a year for us. And I'd like to see something happen too. And the only way, I said, if it's the EMS building, that's fine, but the only way we can make it work for the county is to make sure that the parking facility is done. But I don't wanna, I would hate to see that if you talk about the growth, if the hospital or something else comes in here and needs that facility because it was designed for that to begin with, and because the ambulance service is there, do you knock me out of that to put whatever emergency service
It
in
was
there?
intended for something, it was
No, but I'm
designed,
saying in
but
future.
not built.
Right,
So-
but in future, I'm saying that, if, for instance, if another hospital or anything came in here, you're going to wanna keep it there. I mean, I don't know, like I said, but I've just gotta do something. We've got a need, and we've gotta do, for the oath that we swore, we gotta protect it. And so if it's EMS, we can work with EMS under the stipulation to make sure that the parking facility is all done as we need it. To try to make sure the best on the front end, I don't want us to be all of a sudden, well, we're gonna get you in there, and then say, well, we'll get the parking in a year or so. You know,
Not
when
doing
we,
anything to do with it, we're doing it full time. We're not doing part.
I think everybody agrees with that.
I don't anybody.
well, no, but that's what I'm telling you, the talk, because, and that's what bothers me. When I said I would like people to come sit down with me to talk about the building and the needs, and then there was one remark thrown out there, we get her in the building and, somewhere within the next 5 years, we'll get the rest of it finished. It can't work that way. We've gotta have it complete, we gotta have the park facility complete before we start moving anything from where we're at. That's the whole issue. And believe me, we have people walk in off the street that tells us, they feel sorry for us because of how long they know it's been going on. But if the EMS is what they go with, and the commission agree with that, I just wanted to make sure that everything is complete as far as the parking facility.
I'm gonna tell you, that this has been going on for a long time. We've had drawings, we've met with architects, and we've had things for several months. And everyone is trying to do the best they can. I appreciate everybody working together, appreciate y'all's hard work. It's not easy when you're dealing with what you have to do and the way the law prescribes that. And there is no prescription in the law, is how they say it, to the size of the building. A lot of these issues were brought up by a Homeland Security report, as Ms. Moore stated. And I understand that part. I understand it very well for that assessment report. We all want to make sure that everything is protected. But there were plans brought up quite a bit before. You can extrapolate on different architectural plans. I presented one to you a few months ago, it was 2,800. You said that was not big enough, of course. You have 2,400 now, 28 would not suffice. So there was another drawing for 38, and I think yours is somewhere around 38 to 4,000.
3880.
So you got, with this particular project, you would have more square footage. And if you could make it work, that would seem plausible to me. the state and with the budget committee as well. I mean, I've got to show them the hard facts. You know, the last few years, interest rates have gone up. It's different when you're doing a capital outlay project with interest rates. The reason that note is higher on a 12-year is because you're not stretching it out with that, the longer you go out on interest rate, the more money you pay in interest. The financial advisor didn't advise it because of the financial position we're in. It says we already owe $15 million on a project for the CJC. So if you add back in the interest, it's on that, because that's a separate issue, that's a bond issue. But you still gotta say how you're gonna pay for it. But anyway, that's a different matter, didn't mean to bring that up, but that's what I have to go through with financials, so. Anyway, I think y'all have some good options, so that's all I have, sir.
Well, with that being said, thanks Todd.
Yes, sir.
Ultimately, hopefully the county commission can come up with a decision of which direction it makes the most sense to go in. One, we can continue to pursue the idea of a new building, and the process, across with that, which will involve a site selection, that makes the most sense for the county. The second is to pursue the EMS remodel idea. We've had good, thanks Mike for all your work in putting that together. That is a viable option, certainly the most affordable option and by far the quickest option. And quite honestly, that's the largest square footage for the election commission.
And that end of that building is practically brand new. The appliances in there still have the plastic on them from when it was originally built. So that end is a brand new building, and we can make it look like we want it to look like for you and for your commission.
Mr. Chair, I'm good recommend.
Go ahead, Doc.
And I'd invite everybody to just go. I don't know who's seen the property or who hasn't seen it, but, you know, come take a look at it, walk through it, and, you know, it's kind of hard to go through these if you haven't seen actually how the walls are divided or how much space is actually in it, but please come out and take a look at it. You know, that may be a way to kind of get it wrapped around the head, you know, pretty good.
The third option is one that Todd mentioned, which is to pursue renovation of the existing facility, which would entail a lot. Just being able to renovate and hold elections in the same building at the same time, it would be almost impossible. That has a whole another set of complications to it, as also the fact that it gives you very little chance to expand. So I don't know that that's an option that anybody is overly thinking is a good option. So really it boils down to new construction or the renovation. So with that being said, anybody have any more further comments? If not, thank you so much for y'all's time. Hopefully we've gotten some things accomplished. I do appreciate everyone's work in this matter. So with this,